I think it shows how bold he can be as a coach, and to even make the decision to bring in Isuza in the midfield just before halftime is telling of a man who believes that if I have to make a decision, then I will make it. And he's willing to take responsibility. And that is what we have not seen in Kenyan football. I think the last time we have seen a coach who could take the bull by the horns, borrowing Shetemi's words.
Yes.
I think I will take it back to Adela Mrush. I think since that we've not seen a coach who's as brave, who's as gritty.
Make those decisions.
And make those decisions. So, good start for Kimanzi. Hopefully he can take us back to the 2008 or 9 period, which I think for me was his best stint with the national team, and maybe take us to Qatar 2022.
One of the standout players was Kenneth Muguna, the Gor Mahia, newly installed Gor Mahia captain, and then he came in yesterday, scored that equalizing goal. It's amazing for a young player like Kenneth Muguna, to step up to the plate, and I think the coaches are now putting more responsibilities on these young players. And how are they handling it, Shetemi?
I think for Muguna, he has had a very good season just since he was given the armband at Gor Mahia. You could see when they played their preliminary CAF Champions League against the Burundian side, he actually led from the front as well. He was instrumental in the return leg, ensured those guys can score goals. After that, they went to the Community Shield, that is the FKF, the curtain raiser, the KPL curtain raiser against Bandari. Again, he was there to push the boys. Then now we saw the real Muguna, I think, in their season open against Tusker, where he scored a brace against Tusker in their 5-2 humiliation against Tusker. He was very instrumental. That tells you this guy is in the form of his life. And trust me not, this guy it will going to take a lot of power, rather a lot of difficulties for any other player to take that place from him. We are actually concentrating more on Muguna, but I think also the guy who should get those praises is Eric Ouma, because you saw that bullet where it came from. Yeah. He did the donkey work, he dispossessed the Ghana gaze, and then raced directly to the opposition players. And after that, he released Timbe, who just had an easy task to lay the ball to Muguna. Luckily for Muguna, he was at the right place at the right time and made the easy work for the Kenyans.
He is talking about maybe the kind of self-belief, because Francis Kimanzi talks about it and says that maybe in the first half they were kind of they didn't know what to do. But then come the second half, he makes the decisions, and then the players, step up and they show that confidence.
I think Kimanzi is doing what modern day football is doing all over the world. If you look at the national teams, you look at Europe, the Dutch, the Germans, the English, they are putting their trust in younger players, again, because the game is becoming faster, the demands of the game over 90 minutes mean that you need the energy, you need the pace, you need the kind of mentality to step up. And I think our players, our crop of players, are exposed to the European game, to the global game, and therefore they are getting the incentive and the motivation to be able to step up. And I think moving forward, if this can be maintained, Mugala Muwe na haki umpe, I think the future looks bright for Harambee Stars, and I cannot wait to see the qualifiers, the first qualifiers for the World Cup next in November, and perhaps see what we are likely to get from that. But I think good signs, if the same can be maintained, if the elections do not disrupt,
the elections are coming
do not disrupt the momentum.
They have insulated the national team or the game itself from those politics, and I think we trust that they will do a good job on that. But when you talk about those players, Olwande, you have Johnson Omurwa, Lawrence Juma, I was impressed by their athleticism, the physique these players have shown. Is it that the clubs are doing the right thing in terms of scouting for players with the physique, with the mentality to play at that level?
I think also we should give Gor Mahia credit, because Gor Mahia participation in the Champions League, CAF Confederation Cup, has given these guys confidence. They tell themselves, yes, if Gor Mahia are doing like this, yes, we can do it, and we are playing against Gor Mahia week in, week out. Why can't you also just do what Gor Mahia have been doing on the continental scene? And actually, that's motivation, is pushing players, be it from Western
But it's only one team, it's only Gor Mahia.
Yeah.
Which other team is pushing
and that is my concern for Kenyan football, that at the moment, really, Gor Mahia seem to be in a class of their own. And it should worry the federation. It should worry every stakeholder in football at this point in time, because give or take, if Gor can whitewash Tusker of all the teams.
Let me cut you short.
Let's be honest.
No, you can't blame Gor Mahia.
No, yeah? I'm not blaming. Yeah? I'm just saying it should concern all of us.
Exactly.
Because if Tusker of all the teams cannot match up Gor Mahia, then what do you expect of Western Steamer, the Viga and Zoias of this world?
Of course, Gor Mahia cannot wait on other teams.
Exactly. But my point here is, any player joining Gor Mahia, you join Gor Mahia as an average player. But once you arrive there, you have that winning mentality. And I think also the 12th man, or rather the 12th man, always push these players. And that's why you find that Gor Mahia is not that, you are not going to Gor Mahia maybe for luxury or what. Once you join Gor Mahia, you are going to win titles. And that mentality is the one that's lacking in the other team.
But you see, but the question, Toskin, that we must ask everybody out there is, Gor Mahia are winning against who? That winning mentality is against who? And because they literally
weak teams,
don't have
not weak teams per se, but these weak teams have strong players. I don't know what happens once they join those teams, or rather what they plan for the season. Like right now, yeah, you can maybe forecast a few teams who can challenge Gor Mahia at the start of the season.
No, there is none.
But hold on.
Eshitemi, let me ask you. Allow me to ask Eshitemi this question. Eshitemi, what is our measure of a strong player in Kenya?
No, take a look.
No, when you say that players come in as strong players, but you don't know what happens when they join these teams, what is our measure?
For example, FC Leopards, you get a very good player coming from maybe the up country, we say like Western regions, very good player who has a lot of potential. But once he lands in the den, it's just another.
The players have the mentality that, well, we have arrived. But then let's move on to another topic altogether. I know we'll have a lot to talk about Harambee Stars, the Kenyan Premier League, and just one hopes that from that performance yesterday, from that team that is inexperienced, as the coach said, that we'll be able to build something from that. I expect they should be having another friendly.
Yeah, they have lined up 2 friendlies in the next window.
FKF is yet to communicate on that.
It has been confirmed they'll play against Libya. They'll play against Libya in Morocco, and then they'll host Mozambique. Here,
let's hope those, at least we'll be able to look at the squad and see if they are ready to step up to the plate. But then let's move on to athletics, where Bridget Kosgei ran the fastest half marathon ever by a woman on Sunday, that is yesterday, winning the Great North Run in a time of 1 hour, 4 minutes and 28 seconds. Her time was 23 seconds quicker than the world record set in 2017 by fellow Kenyan, that is Joycelyn Chepkosgei. But the course in the northeast of England is not eligible for records. Kosgei, who won this year's London Marathon, led a Kenyan clean sweep of the top 4 places, with Magdalene Masai second on 1 hour, 7 minutes and 36 seconds, and Lynette Masai third on 1 hour, 7 minutes and 44 seconds. Guys, I don't know if you watched that race yesterday, but then running the fastest, race and time for the women half marathon, that's quite something. Given that Joycelyn Chepkosgei is the one that holds the record, we've been told that this one may not stand as a proper world record because the course was kind of downhill. But then Bridget running that fast time, that should be something to celebrate about.
Well, something to celebrate, but nothing new really, because Kenyans and Ethiopians have dominated this particular run for many years. I think what this means, it once again confirms our ability as a country to produce top-notch runners. But I think the ghost that we have to deal with is that which keeps coming. So every time, and you must have. You must be concerned that we still have to deal with this ghost. The worlds are coming up. It is good signs for me, but should I celebrate? I'm not so sure. I think I'm waiting for the World Championships before I can then put my ink on the paper.
Actually, the national, that's the Athletics Kenya trials for the World Championship is getting underway on, that is 13th, from Thursday through to Friday.
Yes.
And we expect to get a team to compete at the Worlds on September 28th in Doha. But I don't see people really talking much about the World Championship. What's happening, Eshtemi?
Can't really tell, but from the look of things, you know, we expected maybe Kenya to field a strong team for All Africa Games. Apparently, most of the athletes decided to go for the Diamond Leagues. So maybe that is a sign. Maybe these players are also preparing for the World Championship. I hope, as the trials are coming up this week, we are going maybe to look for the best athletes to represent us, because nobody will be happy to see Kenya not performing well at the international stage, or rather at the best stage for any athletes. And it's always a dream for each athlete, or rather sportsman or woman, to maybe achieve or rather win something prestigious that will always remain him or her entire life during maybe a very competitive event. And I believe this is the time Kenya should maybe stamp its authority again in the global scene in Doha.
But looking at the overall performance of some of these athletes over the past few months, the steeplechase is something worrying now. Conseslus Kipruto, the world champion, is not at his best. He finished 5th, I think, in Brussels, and that should worry everyone, that the Ethiopians and even the Americans are catching up with the steeplechase.
I want to indict Athletics Kenya at this point in time, and I would borrow the words of one of our colleagues, without mentioning his name, that a former president of AK is probably turning in his grave, because the aura that surrounded the national trials or the national championships in athletics is getting lost, and you find the national trials for a team going to the Worlds a few days to go, and there's no hype. I mean, you check the papers, and with all due respect, you're not seeing that build-up like we've seen it before. So the question we've got to ask ourselves... They
always say that any national trials in Kenya, be it before Olympics, be it before World
Commonwealth
Championship,
or whatever
it's a kind of mini world championship.
Because it will attract attention across the globe.
It's a gold label event under the IAAF. And you ask yourself, what is it that is taking that allure out of this? And that is why I say I indict AK, for example, that there's something that is not being done right. Either they're losing the creativity in terms of event organization, in terms of, getting the media to talk about it. And therefore, it is a lack of vision, in my view, with the powers that be. I could be wrong, but I honestly think something is not right at AK. Something is not right in this country.
It may not be AK alone per se. Of course, 800 meters, which we had dominated during David Rudisha's time. Rudisha is not on the scene. Of course, we have Elijah Manangoi, 1,500 meters. We have Obiri Ellen, 5,000 meters. But then we seem to lack a star that would really make everyone, want to go out there and watch athletics.
Talking about Rudisha and Conseslus, unfortunately, Conseslus, I understand he pulled out during the AG Games. I think he had an injury or something. So I can't really tell exactly what transpired.
He had an injury.
He had an injury, and he had to pull out. That is a worrying trend for the Kenyans, because when you see your stars not being at their best and us heading into an international event is really worrying.
But we are always an optimistic country. We know that new stars will be born, and we should go to Nyayo Stadium on Thursday and Friday.
Going there is one thing, and Robin, we've talked about this. This Roju business, the world is catching up with us. And you've got to look at the Diamond League, for example, and see the kind of athletes that are coming into the races that are traditionally considered Kenyan.
Kenyan races, but
you
giving
see
them away.
Kenyans not spark. There is no spark. And that Roju business is worrying for me. We need to be strategic now. We need the vision of the Sports Act, the spirit of the letter of the Sports Act needs to get life breath, a breath of life into it for us to be able to do this. Otherwise, I'm afraid that in 2021, probably we will not be talking about any preparations. The Olympics are coming up in less than a year's time.
You mean AK will be going the cricket Kenya way?
No,
It may not get there, but I'm saying if you're losing that attraction, that attention,
Yes.
you may not get the CK way, but then on